Every minute, more than 30 electric cars are sold worldwide. People buy them to save the planet. No exhaust, no gasoline, a clean conscience. But here's the catch. Before that car ever drives its first mile, it's already done more environmental damage than a regular gas-powered car does in a couple of years of driving. Sounds insane? This isn't oil company propaganda, and it's not a hit piece from a rival automaker. These are facts that somehow never make it into the commercials. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the answer to "Will electric cars save us?" is a lot less simple than it looks. Let's get into it. Few people remember this, but the electric car isn't a 21st century invention. Back in the early 1900s, it was completely ordinary and competed on equal footing with steam and gasoline-powered cars. The internal combustion engine won, not because it was cleaner, but because it was cheaper, refueled faster, and oil back then was dirt cheap. From there, the entire 20th century auto industry was built around gasoline. Gas stations, highways, entire national economies grew up around oil. It wasn't until people started talking about global warming and dwindling oil reserves that electricity suddenly became fashionable again. That's how the modern myth was born. The electric car as a clean technology of the future, a make everything better button for the planet. Let's take that myth apart, piece by piece. The first problem is right there on the surface, yet almost nobody says it out loud. An electric car doesn't produce energy, it consumes it, and electricity doesn't just appear out of the outlet. A large share of the world's electricity is still generated from coal and gas. So here's what actually happens. An EV owner in a coal-heavy region isn't eliminating the tailpipe. They're just relocating it from under the hood to a smokestack somewhere outside of town. You don't see the smoke from your car window, but it's there. It's just become somebody else's problem now. In countries with nuclear or hydropower, France, Norway, Sweden, the picture looks very different. And there, an EV really is almost clean. But talking about zero emissions while ignoring a country's power grid is like bragging about how spotless your apartment is while dumping all your trash at your neighbor's door. Now for the uncomfortable part, battery production. A lithium-ion battery isn't just a box that holds a charge. Lithium, cobalt, nickel, graphite, and this is where the real environmental underside of clean technology begins. Lithium extraction requires a staggering amount of water, millions of liters per ton of metal produced. In places like the Atacama Desert in Chile, this hits already scarce water resources directly, threatening both local agriculture and the fragile ecosystems of salt flats. Cobalt is even worse. Most of the world's supply comes from the Democratic Republic of Congo, and this isn't just an environmental issue anymore. It's a serious human one. A portion of that mining relies on harsh, unsafe labor conditions, including child labor. That's the line that somehow never makes it into ads for the green car of the future. Bottom line, building an electric car is an energy-intensive, dirty process. By various estimates, manufacturing one produces noticeably more emissions up front than manufacturing a comparable gas-powered car. An EV literally rolls off the lot already in environmental debt. So are electric cars a scam? Not so fast. This is where it gets interesting. You can't judge a car by one moment in time. You have to look at its entire life cycle. Yes, an EV starts out with an environmental debt, but then comes the driving phase. No tailpipe, no motor oil, no spark plugs to replace, which means its carbon footprint grows far more slowly than a gasoline car's does. According to a number of studies, an electric car typically pays off that initial carbon debt somewhere between 20,000 and 60,000 miles of driving, depending on how clean the country's power grid is and how large the battery is. Past that point, it genuinely becomes cleaner than an equivalent gas car, and the longer you drive it, the bigger that gap grows in its favor. In other words, an electric car isn't an instant fix for the planet. It's a long-term investment that only pays off with heavy, sustained use. Buying one and selling it 2 years later is almost meaningless, environmentally speaking. There's one more question that almost never comes up in the ads. What happens to the battery once it dies? An EV battery typically lasts 8 to 15 years, after which its capacity drops too low to be useful in a car. The good news, these batteries don't just get thrown away. They're increasingly reused as stationary energy storage for homes or solar farms where high energy density no longer matters as much. And once that's no longer viable either, the battery goes for recycling, recovering lithium, cobalt, and nickel for new batteries. The bad news, the battery recycling industry is still in its infancy, and its capacity is badly lagging behind the pace at which EVs are hitting the roads. Which means in the coming years, the world is going to face a real challenge: what to do with millions of tons of dead batteries if recycling infrastructure doesn't scale up fast enough to keep pace. Let's be honest, an electric car is not a magic pill for the environmental crisis. It's a trade-off. It doesn't eliminate the problem, it shifts part of it into raw material extraction, into battery manufacturing, into power generation, out of your car's tailpipe and into less visible but no less real links of the chain. And yet, when you look at the whole picture over a long enough time frame, especially in countries with clean power grids, an electric car really does turn out to be the more environmentally friendly option compared to a gas-powered one. The real solution isn't just switch to an EV and call it a day. It's building out clean energy generation, pushing for more ethical and sustainable raw material sourcing, and, critically, building a real battery recycling system. An electric car is a tool, not a cure-all. And how much good it actually does for the planet depends not just on what's under the hood, but on the entire system surrounding it. So next time someone tells you electric cars will save the world, ask them one question back. Where does the electricity to charge it actually come from? If this video changed how you look at this topic, hit like and subscribe. There's more where this came from.